For decades, they were unmistakable. Bright orange shorts, white tank tops, and a business model that turned male attention into a billion-dollar empire. But in 2025, after 42 years of buffalo wings and controversy, the unthinkable happened. How did one of America's most recognizable restaurant chains, a company that once seemed unstoppable, end up declaring bankruptcy? And what can every business learn from their spectacular rise and fall? That's what we're examining today on The Philosophy of Marketing, and trust me, this story contains lessons every entrepreneur needs to hear. To understand how Hooters went from industry trendsetter to bankruptcy court, we need to go back to where it all began. The year is 1983, Michael Jackson's Thriller is dominating the charts, and in Clearwater, Florida, 6 businessmen with no restaurant experience decide to open a place that combined their favorite things: beer, chicken wings, and attractive women. Their business plan was simple and revolutionary for its time. Take the sports bar concept, add waitresses and revealing uniforms, and create what they called delightfully tacky yet unrefined atmosphere. The owl logo with the double entendre name was deliberately provocative, and against all conventional wisdom in the restaurant industry, it worked spectacularly. What happened next defied restaurant industry logic. Within 5 years, Hooters had expanded to 100 locations. By 2007, they had over 430 restaurants worldwide and annual revenue exceeding $1 billion. Their success wasn't just about the waitresses, known as the Hooters girls. They actually built their business on 3 key pillars. First, they defined a clear niche: casual dining with entertainment value. Second, they created consistent, affordable comfort food. And third, they mastered the art of the surrogate relationship between customer and staff. And this is where controversy and business success collided. And here comes our first business lesson. Brand identity can be your greatest strength and greatest vulnerability. Hooters knew exactly what they were selling, and it wasn't just chicken wings. Marketing professor James Collins explains, Hooters wasn't selling food, they were selling a temporary escape. The food was merely the ticket price for the experience. This laser-focused brand identity drove tremendous loyalty, but also created a demographic ceiling that would eventually contribute to their downfall. By the mid-2010s, the restaurant industry was transforming rapidly. Fast casual dining was exploding. Food delivery apps were changing how Americans ate, and younger consumers were increasingly uncomfortable with Hooters' core concept. Between 2012 and 2018, Hooters closed more than 7% of their locations, but the real problems ran much deeper. Hooters faced a perfect storm of challenges: cultural shifts making their concept increasingly controversial, rising food and labor costs squeezing thin margins, competition from Twin Peaks, Tilted Kilt, and other restaurants, and the pandemic decimating in-person dining. But the most significant threat was something few saw coming. And herein lies business lesson number 2. Demographic shifts can destroy even the most established business models. Restaurant industry analyst Maria Rodriguez explains, Hooters' core customers were aging out, and younger generations weren't replacing them. Millennials and Gen Z wanted different dining experiences, more inclusive, more diverse, more focused on food quality and sustainability. To their credit, Hooters recognized these challenges and attempted several strategic pivots, but each one revealed fundamental flaws in their thinking. In 2017, they launched Hoot Wings, a fast casual concept without the Hooters girls, but it failed to capture the magic of the original Hooters concept while also failing to attract new customers. Hooters updated uniforms, modernized restaurants, expanded the menu with healthier options, and invested heavily in delivery services. And here are just a few of the numbers. The remodel cost for Hooters, anywhere between $8 to $10 million per location. The menu expansion, 40% more items by 2020. Delivery investment, $25 million in technology. And the return on investment, negative 12%. The problem wasn't execution, the problem was direction. And here comes business lesson number 3. You can't evolve your brand while clinging to your old identity. Branding expert Jonathan Hayes explains the fundamental contradiction. Hooters tried to simultaneously retain their restaurant image for existing customers while appealing to more progressive consumers. It's like trying to drive in 2 opposite directions at once. When COVID-19 hit in 2020, it accelerated Hooters' decline dramatically. A business built on in-person experiences was suddenly forced to compete purely on food quality and delivery efficiency. And the numbers tell the whole story here. Hooters experienced a 57% decline in revenue for Q2 in 2020. More than 200 locations were temporarily closed, 37 locations were permanently closed, and 70% of the remaining locations were operating at reduced capacity through 2021. But here's something that's really fascinating. Their competitors in the casual dining space were recovering by 2022, but Hooters continued to struggle. This revealed the final brutal truth. When stripped of its atmosphere and reduced to just its food, Hooters couldn't compete. Business lesson number 4. When your differentiator becomes a liability, fundamental reinvention is required. Restaurant consultant Keith Williams put it bluntly. Hooters had decades to evolve their concept, but instead they've just made surface-level changes. When the pandemic hit, they had no second act ready. This brings us to 2025 and the Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing that shocked the industry. After years of declining sales, mounting debt, and failed turnaround attempts, Hooters Restaurant Group filed for bankruptcy protection, citing $427 million in debt against only $389 million in assets. The filing revealed staggering figures. Their same-store sales had declined for 22 consecutive quarters. Customer traffic was down 41% from 2007 at its peak, and perhaps most tellingly, their average customer age had increased from 38 in 2000 to 56 in 2024. In the filing, CEO Saul Mullally acknowledged what many industry insiders had been saying for years. We failed to evolve our concept to meet changing consumer preferences while carrying unsustainable debt from our expansion efforts. And I want to show you some of the effects of the bankruptcy. An immediate closure of 175 locations, restructuring of $275 million in debt, the sale of the international franchise rights, and the rebranding of the remaining 123 locations under new ownership. For context, other casual dining chains that successfully transformed during this period, like Applebee's and TGI Fridays, embraced technology, simplified menus, and reimagined their core value proposition without abandoning their brand heritage. The Hooters bankruptcy wasn't inevitable. It was the result of strategic choices made over decades. And here comes our 5th and final business lesson. Cultural relevance requires continuous reinvention, not just optimization. Optimizing your business is important. You should always be tweaking, improving, and looking for marginal gains. But if you're only optimizing with yesterday's model while the world moves on, you're already on the road to irrelevance. And that's exactly what happened to Hooters. They kept trying to polish the same concept that worked in the 1980s and the 1990s, believing small tweaks like new uniforms, broader menus, delivery apps would be enough. But real cultural shifts aren't solved with optimization, they demand reinvention, a deep, sometimes painful reassessment of what business you're really in and who you're serving today, not who you served 20 years ago. So what business lessons can we learn from Hooters' rise and fall? And let me break it down into 5 actionable business lessons. First off, brand identity needs room to evolve. Hooters' core concept became increasingly out of step with cultural shifts. How can your brand maintain its essence while evolving with the times? Number 2, demographics determine destiny. Hooters' core customers aged out, and younger generations wanted different experiences. Are you tracking demographic trends that could impact your business? Number 3, differentiation must be sustainable. When your key differentiator, like provocative waitresses, becomes controversial, you need a backup plan. What's your secondary value proposition? Number 4, half measures fail in transformation. Hooters tried to change without really changing. True transformation requires courage to reinvent, not just refresh. And finally, number 5, debt amplifies business model problems. Hooters' expansion left them with debt that limited their ability to transform. How leveraged is your business model? The lesson from Hooters isn't just about changing social norms or pandemic impacts. It's about the danger of building a business on concepts with a limited shelf life without a plan for evolution. The restaurant business isn't about preserving traditions. It's about continuously reinventing them. Industry consensus. So the next time you see a shuttered Hooters location, remember, you're not just looking at a failed restaurant chain, you're looking at what happens when nostalgia becomes strategy, a cautionary tale for any business facing changing times. Now, if you found value in this breakdown of Hooters bankruptcy, hit that like button and subscribe to the Philosophy of Marketing. In the comments, let me know, what failed business would you like me to analyze next? And until then, remember, adapting isn't just about survival, it's about thriving in the face of change.